interesting current affairs that we have to offer on this radio super classy dial. We call it Splash 106.7 FM, the integrity station, the station that has a bias for promoting right values. It's a total package that we'll bring to the fore today in terms of everything that Panorama holds in store. 2 segments, the issue of the day, as well as from the pages. There I will let you know what channels you can use to be a part of this. My name is Gbenga. Fayehun. Welcome.
I am Odera, Otaru. Welcome to the show this morning. Today is Thursday, the 8th of September, 2022. And of course, you know what I like to do. I like to keep track of the calendar as much as possible.
I'm like, timekeeper.
Yes, you're a timekeeper, Accurate timekeeper. I don't mind. If that is my accolade for this morning, I gladly accept it. While we are on the issue of felicitations, we would also like to extend congratulations to Yaikiti on her birthday.
That's right. I've been Bolaki on Laughing 2 years. Today's our birthday. Yes. I understand they did some sort of para,
Yeah.
And
of course, you know how it is when those in a relationship or in a marriage receive para, the single ones suffer for it. Like I'm currently suffering for it now. Anyway, that's it for the lighter note this morning. Panorama is segmented into 2. The first being the issue of the day, which is going to run from now until about 5 minutes to 9 a.m., where we go on our commercials break and return for the second segment from the pages, where we take you through the stories that you'll find on the front pages of a couple of our newspapers this morning. You can reach us via WhatsApp 0817 555 1067 to convey your thoughts, or on Twitter at our handle at Splash FM 1067 with the hashtag Panorama on Splash. We are live currently on Facebook, Splash FM 106.7 Abeokuta, and you can also convey your thoughts on the comment section of the live video feed that you see. The phone lines will be open, but that's not going to happen right now. It's going to happen much later in the discussion.
All right. I like the energy I'm seeing on Facebook, so let's keep it going, okay? But let's get straight to the issue of the day.
Elections, like various other activities, require a lot to take place, and this is a worldwide phenomenon, not limited to Nigeria alone. From form acquisitions to primaries conduct, campaign strategy, and planning, a lot of tedious tasks are inevitable.
Let's face it.
A lot of tedious tasks are inevitable for a successful election, but even all of this is nothing without a very important factor: funding. The difference between a successful election and an unsuccessful one can clearly be defined by funding.
Let's face it, elections cost money, lots of it. Even more so in this part of the world where it is largely assumed that elections are won with money. Aside party campaign movements, the process of conducting elections are quite expensive. Voter registration, election materials, payment of staff, all these add up to quite the sum at the end of the day. But this is only part of the reason elections are so expensive in Nigeria.
Recently, a photo was posted and deleted on Instagram by the son of the APC presidential candidate of what appeared to be a campaign meeting of some sorts. Highlighted on their notes board was monetary inducements, which caused quite the uproar on social media. But monetary inducements is a major move by political parties, and it has been for some time. When all this has been taken into account, the total sum is usually staggering.
But who bears the cost? Many a times, donations of well-wishers and supporters come into play, whether it be a cover or not. But recently, in the Electoral Act 2022, regulations have been put in place regarding foreign donations to political parties for elections. How does this affect the parties? Is this inclusive of candidates as well, or are there loopholes? Answers to these questions will be found here this morning. And we have joining us to have the conversation, Barrister Nathaniel. Okay, right?
Very well. Thank you very much, Mr. Gbenga.
All right, thank you very much.
Mr. Otaru.
Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you. Good morning.
So, I mean, let's maybe put some sort of background to this and some sort of perspective altogether. Many have also talked about the electioneering process, the what's the word now? Vote buying. That's the word I was looking for. As a
Major
reflection of what happens, even the primaries, the electioneering process, the process of having a candidate emerge, and all of that. Do you share that sentiment, really?
Thank you very much, Mr. Gbenga. As regards the issue of vote buying, I would say that is a major challenge to our electoral process, and I very well believe that is an offense in our laws and in Nigeria. But looking at the issue, they are kind of a bit restricted provisions to the offenses of vote buying, and curbing the common occurrence in our political system, especially in our elections, is not easy, because that is going to be the duty of the police, Nigerian police force, to ensure that vote buying is properly tackled. The INEC officials are just there to ensure that the elections are conducted safely. That's their service, to ensure that you vote during the election, but to ensure individuals are free from every form of influence by outsiders, especially agents to political parties, is left for the police to handle. And that's a big problem to our electoral process. The police, you know very well, they are form of they have this sendback and challenges to ensure that vote buying is reduced to the barest minimum.
But you mentioned that vote buying is an offense in our laws. Is it categorically stated anywhere? Because this happens to be a major source of debate. Where is it stated that vote buying is a crime? And is it punishable? And is it effective?
Though there's no, to be specific, the Electoral Act did not specifically make provisions to that effect. But very well, for you to induce the influence of a voter to vote your candidate is very well not encouraging. And they are I am very sure that there are several laws that the police can look into to charge you to court. To be specific, to a very large extent, I think vote buying is an offense. Because there are other situations that the police will look into to charge you before a proper court in Nigeria.
So let's get this straight. The Constitution doesn't make any provision as to categorically stating that it's an offense to engage in vote buying and
punishable
vote selling.
offense, a criminally punishable offense.
And then that's what you're saying, one. And then the Constitution, I mean, does it also state anything in that regard?
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Gbenga. The Constitution was mainly specific about prohibiting the source of funds for political parties. The Constitution in particular is not a criminal law. It's a ground norm for Nigeria, and most every other law, they have their foundation from the Constitution. If there's going to be any specific prohibition to vote buying, it's not going to be from the Constitution itself. It's going to be from any other law that derives its foundation and roots from the Constitution.
So let's not look at the issue of funding for political parties. I see here that a section of the Constitution, I believe 225(3), provides that no political party shall hold or possess any funds or other assets outside Nigeria, or B, be entitled to retain any funds or assets remitted or sent to it from outside Nigeria. So, I mean, this seems clear enough that political parties should not have assets outside Nigeria. I mean, does this make sense, really?
Thank you very much, Mr. Gbenga. That, to a very large extent, makes a lot of sense to me. Nigeria as a state has the principle of sovereignty. Sovereignty is the fact that the people in the country, they have every right to self-determination, to set up the governments that are going to rule and preside over the affairs of the country. From what you have said so far, I think diaspora funding or having funds in a foreign country is an offense to our laws, especially from the provisions of the Constitution and the Electoral Act. is an offense punishable in Nigeria. Okay. And the political parties are not mandated to have any assets, liability, or whatever sort in countries outside of Nigeria.
So if we now take a look at that further, it looks as though there is, by that same provision of the Constitution, it looks as though individuals can own assets outside the country, but parties cannot. Is there no, what's the word now? Is there no conflict? Or are there no conflicts in that regard? If individuals can have and political parties cannot?
Right, because it doesn't, in nowhere categorically states that candidates cannot have access to even funding, right? Even donations. It doesn't state that. So this is a kind of a loophole. Isn't this something that they can always take advantage of? I'm talking about the candidates or the individuals themselves.
Thank you very much. There's no loopholes in this regard at all. Because going by our Electoral Act, candidates do not own votes.
Okay. It's the party.
It's the party. All votes belongs to the party. And the candidate in this regard is going to act as an agent to the party.
Okay.
So whatever votes that the candidate is able to produce to the political party is owned by the political party.
Right.
Here, the candidate is going to act as an agent. You get? Because in our laws, there have been several judgments to this effect.
Okay.
Judicial precedents says the decisis as regards this issue, especially from the words of Pa Mutaka.
Okay.
In the case of GSC Odedo versus INEC and others, he stated that candidates in an election are sponsored by political parties. It is the political parties that participate in conduct of election that is the winner or loser, and not the candidate sponsored by the political party. Sometimes, though the goodwill of the candidates affects the votes of the political parties. So what I'm saying in essence is that candidates do not own votes.
Okay.
It is the political parties. So whatever votes that is produced in an election belongs to the political parties. So I will not say that candidates are, to an extent, recognized by our laws. Considering the case law we have here, the Electoral Act, and the Constitution.
Well, what happens, because candidates are allowed to use their personal funds for their ambitions as well. And so if you have a situation where a candidate maybe converts from a foreign account or has assets, sells them and uses them for the ambition of their political party winning the elections, that's a loophole. What happens then?
Like I have said earlier, I said candidates do not own votes in an election.
Yes, but then the fact remains that the party needs the resources, the financial resources.
Sure, very well.
Right? And so if they claim that they accept local donations, there's nothing stopping a candidate from using his own personal funds. Now, if these personal funds that belong to the candidate come from foreign foreign investments or foreign property, what happens then? Does the party say no, because this particular funds is coming from an external source, we're not going to accept it? I don't think the party is going to do that.
From the provisions of the Constitution, going by section 225 sub 3 of the 1999 Constitution as amended, it is an offense for a political party to accept donations from foreign countries.
Yes.
And also going by the provisions of the Electoral Act, it is also an offense, which was adopted from the provisions of the Constitution, for political parties to accept donations from foreign countries. Why these provisions set up, provided for, is to the effect that Nigeria as a country is a sovereign state. And they have, every individual here have the privilege to set up the government of the country. That is to say that the country has right to self-determination and free from every form of foreign interference.
Okay.
Going by section 225 sub 3, it is to the effect that political parties should not accept foreign donations from foreign nations, countries, or states. In it is for the betterment and good of our sovereignty, to maintain the sovereignty of this our dear nation. Because, we don't know the source of all these funds coming from outside the country. Probably it could be from a political source in foreign countries, individuals, corporations from foreign countries. So the essence of this provision, Section 225 and 85 of the Section 225 of the 1999 Constitution and Section 85 of the Electoral Act is to the effect that is just to maintain the sovereignty, protect the sovereignty of Nigeria.
Okay, let's look at the consequence of if a political party breaches this. According to what I'm seeing here, there's also a further statement that any political party that holds or possess any funds outside Nigeria in contravention of Section 225, subsection 3 of the Constitution commits an offence and shall on conviction forfeit the funds or assets purchased with such funds to the Commission, and in addition may be liable to a fine of at least 5 million naira. Do you see that punishment as commensurate to, it just means a political party could have gotten assets to the tune of 1 billion, or more. I'm just trying to use some hypothetical situation here and then, but the fine is 5 million. Is that commensurate?
Is very, for example, the presidential candidate has a limited amount of money he used to spend in every political campaign. And for presidential candidate, he used to spend 5 billion naira. And if you are to look at the fine there, 5 million naira, I think it is very well commensurate with the amount he used to spend in pursuing his political ambition as president of this country.
No, I don't think you're understanding the question, Barrister. What he's saying is the punishment for breaking that rule is 5 million naira. And he gave the instance of, say, what they acquire is worth billions. 5 million naira is almost nothing to the average politician. The average politician is able to just, bring out 5 million naira from pocket and pay the fine. So is that not too little a consequence? That's what he's asking.
Thank you, Ms. Otaru. I don't think the 5 million naira is a little amount of money, considering the fact that the presidential candidate is going to get every form of funding from Nigerians within Nigeria and probably those outside the country, though prohibited by the Electoral Act. I think 5 million naira is a good sum, is enough as a fine for presidential candidates to pay. Okay. In respect of the maximum amount is to spend to purchase political 5 billion naira. It's very well commensurate.
Okay.
Because when you look at the issue of fine, it's not just to want to withdraw, you need to understand, especially the punishment for criminal offense. It's not to punish.
Okay.
It's not just to persecute the offender, right, but at least to ensure justice is done in every case. The major thing we are going to look at is the conviction of such a political party. The conviction goes a long way to say that you as a political party, you have breached the laws of the land. So whatever fine that comes along with it is not should not be considered that much. Okay. But the issue of conviction should be the paramount issue we should be looking at.
Okay. Let's touch base on. I've spoken with quite some Nigerians, and they feel our politics is pretty expensive. Well, of course, this is some sort of deviation from legal matters now. So this might have to do with what you think, as the case is. But of course, you also speak as a barrister. In comparison to what obtains in other parts of the world, which some would also say is also pretty expensive. But the only difference is for other parts of the world, it's almost as though it's a crowdfunding thing in terms of how the revenue is generated to fund such campaigns and such political drives. Do you share that sentiment? Do you feel there's a lot of unexplained source of revenue to candidates, to political parties? And do you think there could be a change, maybe constitutional-wise or the Electoral Act in this instance?
Going by the provisions of the Constitution, the Constitution is the grand norm of the land. And for there to be a change, there must be a change to the Constitution by way of a constitutional amendment. Going by the funding for presidential candidates. The political parties are mandated to spend not more than 5 billion naira. If they go beyond that, it is definitely going to be an issue for such a political candidate. I don't think changing the stipulated 5 billion naira is going to be wise. You know, Nigeria as a country is not an advanced country.
Okay.
Very well, and as a matter of fact, we don't have a lot of money to pursue political ambitions when compared to advanced nations like United States, United Kingdom, France, China, France, and other countries. The reason being that, Nigeria, we have a lot of setback as regards to revenue we generate as a country. And from the provisions of the electoral, the 5 billion naira should be enough for a presidential candidate to pursue his political ambition. The money, that particular money is, to me, is reasonable because you can't compare yourself to countries like US. Because I know very well that political parties, they spend a lot of money for campaigns, rallies, broadcast, media, publicity, press. Inflationary rates in Nigeria, ways of generating funds in Nigeria. We know that the constitutional and the electoral has already prohibited foreign suppliers of funds.
Right. Okay. Well, you're listening